Hey folks, welcome back to another video with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today isn't a review, it is a comparison video of these two big guys right here. We have the basic version of Rising 5 and the collector's box edition of Rising 5. This is a game that we have all talked very highly about here at the Dice Tower of late. We've given it our seal of excellence as well. This is just going to be a comparison between these two versions to show you what you get in each box. So without further ado, let's get down to the table and take a look. All right, so as you can already tell, there is a definite size difference in the box itself. This one seems to be a little bit more shelf-friendly, but this one, presumably, based on the size of the box, has a little bit more in it. And of course, the artwork design choices for both of the different boxes are slightly different. But as you can see, Vintage Trade's artwork is definitely front and center on both of these boxes. I mean, and boy, does it ever pop. So that's really cool. Let's go ahead and open up the boxes and see what's on the inside. So upon removing the box lid, you'll see that you do have a lot more room and stuff in here, but you'll also see that there is a good amount of thought put into the actual box insert, which is something that's actually pretty cool, and I like it a lot. So you have the different box insert here, but you also have another box insert here that will also hold all of the components. And as you can see, those components don't really move around a whole lot within their different storage solutions, and these are straight from the publisher. Now, it's not, on the level of Wasteland Express delivery service, but it is still very functionable, and it helps with setup that much easier. As you can see, the boards are identical to a certain extent because they're both the same size, and the artwork is actually the same on both of the boards as well. So you can see here that the artwork on both of them, the boards are the same size. There's no differences there. Now, as far as the other things that were on top, of course, you have the rule books and the expansion modules that come within both of the games. You'll also get this in the collector's edition. Now, this is one of the really cool things about the collector's edition. It actually has this book of artwork and that type of stuff, and intro by Vincent Dutrait and all of this kind of stuff. It's a really neat book that shows kind of the different stages that are put into the collector's edition, or rather the game. But this was included in the collector's edition, and I thought it was just a really neat thing. Backstories for all of the characters and that type of stuff. All the different creatures and the thought process behind them, the artifacts and relics, and all of that good stuff. This is just a really neat addition to a collector's edition. Now, getting back to some of the more similarities within the box, you do have some of these extra inlays that come in both of the editions. First of all, you have this guy right here. This is for if you want to play an Overlord variant, I guess you could say, where one person is basically taking the role of the app. Then you also have this board. Now, this board is only included in the collector's edition of the board, and it's basically just a board that will help you have a place to set all of the different relic cards, the deck of artifact cards, and then the character cards that are up here as well. But then you also have these. This is one of the expansion modules where you can put a different card into the artifact deck for all of these different guys here. And when they come up as an artifact, they get kind of a bonus. Instead of just their regular a special ability that they're able to do, they also have another ability that's plus. Like, for example, Nova here, she always gets to attack for free another monster that's somewhere else on the board, even if she's not located there. But if she gets boosted by getting that other artifact card, she also always gets a +1. So it's stuff like that that makes those characters just a little bit better. Hal can mirror anybody's special ability anywhere on the board. He doesn't have to be present with them anymore. Echo always gets +1 action on top of being able to move somebody to his location or anywhere else on the board. We already talked about Nova. Oracle, he can, for free, still swap 2 of the runes, either in the ones that are off the board with ones that are, or you can manipulate their configuration on the board. But on top of that, he will be able to look at the top card, location card where he is, and either keep it on the top or shuffle it to the bottom. And then Ellie here, she always can move that moon marker back up 1, but she can also take one of her own cards and put it back underneath the character card deck, which will help keep the game going longer. So those are things that these are really cool. They come in both. They also come with, now the collector's edition here has this board. This is called the Ascendancy board. And what this basically does, it's a way to actually makes the game a little bit more difficult. Whenever a character is defeated by a monster on the board, then they are placed on the spot that corresponds to the location that they're at. So if they're at one of the 1 locations, then their miniature would go here. And then after the next person's turn, it would click down and he would now be available. If you're at location 3, though, the next player's turn, he clicks down here, the next player's turn, and then the next player's turn, then they're able to be used once again. So this is a way to make it more difficult for the game. I don't know if you actually need that or not, but there you have it. And yes, that looks like a Colonial Viper. Back to similarities, you also have the Moth board, which is another expansion variant, another modular expansion that you can have, where he will actually put into effect event cards throughout the course of the game. So I have no idea what this is, but it comes in both. Let's see here. Everything else is pretty much the same except for the glaring difference that is here, and that is miniatures versus standees. So we'll move in a little bit closer. So in the base game, everything comes with, all of the different miniatures come with little standees that look very similar to this. And that's cool. I mean, I like the fact that they are colored representations. It's not just some, rectangle or anything like that. They have some shape to them and some character and so forth and so on. So that's not bad. But the collector's edition is really cool in that they come with these miniatures. And the miniatures are actually very well done. Yes, I am probably going to be painting these, but they're very well done. They have a lot of good detail to them. So I think that it's going to be very fun to paint. So this is Oracle. Then we have Hal here. We'll give you a close-up of him as well. So Hal has, I don't know if it looks like it's pretty difficult to see the detail because he's a white model there, but you basically get the idea of how detailed these models are. So pretty good. And we have Ellie here. Pretty cool action pose. And then we have Nova. And yes, she definitely looks like a Jedi. Although that is a katana, it's not a laser sword. Or a lightsaber as one would define it. But these are single mold, of course. You don't have to put them together or anything like that, which is a bonus for a lot of people. And then finally, Echo. So again, he is also very well detailed. So those are the different things that come in the basic edition, in the collector's edition. All of the different cards and all of this kind of stuff that comes in both sets. You're going to get 2 copies of runes so that you can have 1 copy on the board, and then if you use the Overlord version, they also have a copy behind their little blind as well. So I mean, that's pretty much it as far as what you're going to get in the box. I am going to take a few minutes here and go over the different modules of the expansive elements of the game, but both of those are the same in both boxes. So let's go ahead and shut this down, and we'll get to that in just a few seconds. Now, one thing that I did want to show you before we actually go over those different expansion modules is how the Collector's Edition board looks once it's all put together. You have these two boards over here that are extra, and once you put it all together, the artwork just kind of all bleeds together, and it just looks really, really cool. I really enjoy Vintage Traits artwork. And I just wanted to show you how the Collector's Edition board looks once you put it all together. And it really does help enhance the experience a little bit more to see all of that extra artwork on both of these two different boards here. But it also helps having that logistical aid here in holding all of these different places for things that would normally just be put off the board. So that is the Collector's Edition. Let's go ahead and get to those modular expansions. So we're going to kind of go in backwards order here. The first one we're going to go over here is the Moth expansion. The Moth expansion is just this little tile that gets placed next to the board, and it also comes with these 5 mission cards, as you can see here. And these different mission cards are basically, you shuffle them and you put them face down and you turn one over. And then this one is available for the heroes to complete until the next Red Moon card comes up in the character deck. So there is a timed element here. And so basically this one here is the Amateur Aetherologist, which basically says that you must make an attempt to seal the gate before the next Red Moon card is drawn. If you fail, you have to lose 2 energy cubes. So that's a pretty nasty little mission. But again, this is just something that's going to make the game a little bit more difficult. This one here is the quantity over quality. You have to be able to kill 2 monsters from any region in 1 player turn. If you succeed, you take 3 character cards from the discard pile, shuffle them, and place them on the bottom of the character deck. So this is one that will actually help you throughout the course of the game. This one right here is called You're the Boss. If you kill 1 boss monster, you can take 1 energy cube and move the Eclipse Tracker up 1 space. So if you do this before the next Red Moon card happens, then you get a bonus. Again, something that can help you. This one here is called the Black Market. And you can discard 1 artifact card in your group's possession. So this is an artifact that you already have. So you discard it. If you choose to do so, you roll the combat die. And you can gain as many energy cubes or move the Eclipse Tracker up as many spaces as the result that is rolled. You can split the die result between the two, so that's a cool thing. And if you roll the Eclipse marker, I'm assuming here, it doesn't say, but I'm assuming that that's an automatic fail as it would normally be. And then finally, the Big Game Hunter. If you kill 1 monster from Region 3 before the next Red Moon card is drawn, you can avoid this negative effect. But if you fail, you have to lose an energy cube. First of all, there are 3 new artifact cards. Now, these artifacts are the ones that come in the base game, and you should use them with the core game as well. But it also comes with these 3 new expansion artifact cards that you can add to the deck. So, first of all, you have the Asteros. Asteros. I don't know what that is, but it looks like it's some kind of idol or something like that. This is actually a really cool artifact because basically you can choose 5 character cards from the discard pile and shuffle them and then place them at the bottom of the character deck. So again, this allows you to add more character cards back into the deck, which will give you a little bit more time to figure out the mystery of the runes. So that's really cool. Then you also have these 2 guys that are linked, the Cyclists. When you use one of these 2 artifacts on their own, you can collect 1 energy cube. So that's what the main picture denotes here. But if you have both of them at the same time and you use both of them at the same time, you can immediately attempt to seal the gate 1 time. All right, so in addition to that, the cubes that you've already collected are not expended by this attempt. Now, one of the other expansive modules are the alternate boss monsters. Now, it says that you can either replace, each one goes into a different deck, as you can see here, one for each of the different locations. So you can replace the boss monsters in those locations, or you can add these two, which means that you have two boss monsters in each location. I would recommend that you not do that because having two boss monsters, having one is bad enough in each deck. Having two in each deck is just cruel and unusual punishment, and you're doing it to yourself, so don't do that. Anyway, you can replace the boss monsters in the locations with this or add them to, and they also bring available 3 new relics that come with them. This guy is called Ras Itas. And he basically will go, you can choose collectively amongst yourselves what location he's going to go to. And then he will team up with any character that is at that location when you're fighting a monster. The Cloak of Destiny is given by this boss monster, and it basically gives you 2 silks and 2 Eclipse Track moves up. And then the Silken immediately kills 2 monsters of strength 1, 2, or 3. This expansion is called the Crisis expansion. And so when you're setting up the game, if you want to use this one, you would shuffle the Red Moon cards and Crisis cards together, then draw 3, 4, or 5 cards, depending on the difficulty of the level of the game that you've chosen. And then, without looking at them, you insert those cards into the deck. So these will actually replace some of the Red Moon cards that go into the character deck. Now, when drawing character cards, if a character draws a crisis card, one of these crisis cards, that character is now disabled. And you basically lay the character's pawn down before discarding the card. Now, you can free the hero from this crisis by having a non-disabled character there, and you can spend 1 action and then stand the character's pawn back up. So it doesn't permanently knock the persons out, but it does make you spend an action to revive them. If all characters are ever disabled at once, the players absolutely lose the game. All right, these are trap cards, and there is 1 trap card for each of the different regions, 1, 2, and 3. And what these basically do is that when these guys pop up, you have to immediately carry out the bad effect of the card. For example, this one, you move the Eclipse Tracker down 1 on the track. This one, you lose an energy cube, and then this one, you have to discard a character card from your hand. The active player has to do that. After you carry out these nasty effects, you roll the combat die. On a roll of 1 or the Eclipse side of the die, these guys get shuffled back into the deck and they will reappear later on. If you get a 2 or higher, a 2, 3, or 4, then you discard the trap card. These bad event cards are also 1 in each location or region. And basically what this simply does is you have to roll the combat die, and for whatever number you roll, that's how many energy cubes you have to lose. If you roll the Eclipse marker, you simply move the Eclipse Tracker down 1 towards defeat. So there you have it. Good events are exactly what they say. They are an event. You immediately collect the reward shown whenever they come up. So you gain a cube, gain a click up on the Eclipse Tracker, and you can get an artifact card just immediately. And once again, if you are a glutton for punishment, you can use these mission cards, and there is 1 for each region, as you can see here, 1, 2, and 3. Basically, when this is revealed, you cannot attempt to seal the gate until you get rid of this card. How you get rid of that card? Well, 3 players, 3 heroes have to be present at that location where that is showing, and if one of those heroes spends an action while all 3 of them are there, then you can discard this card, and then you're able to try to open the gate once again. Now, ambushed monsters, another real twist on the game. Whenever one of these are revealed, everybody must discard 2 character cards from their hand. And you can discuss which ones are discarded and so forth and so on. Additionally, this monster's strength is determined by how many copies of these ambushed monsters are out there. So if only one ambushed monster is present, then he is a strength 3. If 2 are present, they are both strength 4s. If all 3 are on the board, then they're all 3 worth 5. But if you do go out and beat them, they do give you a pretty good reward at the end. So dealing with these guys pretty quick is probably the way to go. The corrupted monsters are basically simply more powerful than their base game counterparts. They give better rewards for the most part, but they are just simply more powerful. Now, another thing is when you're using any of these region cards that are in the game here, as you know, all of these guys here, if you're using these, you don't use them all at the same time. That would be kind of a difficult thing. It might throw, well, it probably will throw the balance of the game off. So what you basically would do is you would choose which of these you want to use in your game and then shuffle them all together in their respective region decks and then draw 3 cards off of those. And those 3 cards are what you actually add to your base game region set. So you don't use all of these cards, but again, this is just a way for you to spice up how you play the game, and I think it really adds a lot. Let's get back up top. So that's it for what comes in the Collector's Edition and the regular core base box for Rising 5 Runes of Asteros. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative for you so that you can basically maybe go after which copy of the game that you want to go after. It might be kind of hard to get the Collector's Edition at this point though, because I believe it was a Kickstarter exclusive. I don't think, although I don't know for sure whether it's going to be made widely available on the market once Rising 5 starts showing up into stores. We'll have to see. But at the very least, you know the differences between the two. You can basically say, hey, made a good purchase by going with the Collector's Edition. Or maybe you say, you know what, I think I'm good with the base set. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know more about Rising 5, you can go check out our playthrough. We've done one of those guys, and we've also done a Miami Dice review, all 3 of us, myself, Tom, and Z together. We did a Miami Dice review of Rising 5. So please go check those 2 out as well. So at any rate, I hope you enjoyed the different modular expansions and showing you how those things can really change up the game after you've played it a few times. So again, I'm just doing this so that you guys can have more information. I hope that you've enjoyed that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.